Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of the Rush Hour podcast. In this video, we've got Taylor Swift possibly uninviting Blake Lively from last night's Super Bowl. Could it be? Are you guys surviving this Monday? It's one of the roughest Mondays of all time. The Monday after the Super Bowl. Are you kidding me? No one wants to be at work. We all ate food we regret. Maybe we kissed somebody in celebration or called an ex who was an Eagles fan. Who knows what you did out there? Either way, the Eagles put on a smackdown, really crushing the Chiefs, and it takes away all the talk about who's the greatest quarterback of all time. It is still Tom Brady by a country mile. So anyhow, I'll be covering more of what people said at the Super Bowl regarding the actual game. Tate McRae, I guess, called it. She called the score a whole year ago, so maybe she's a psychic. So we'll get into all of that in the Rush Hour podcast, which is coming next. But this is more of a deep dive directly into what went down with Blake Lively and was she uninvited from the game. Blake skipped Super Bowl 2025 after Taylor felt used. Is there bad blood after all? Oh, I see what you did there. Blake Lively did not attend the 2025 Super Bowl with Taylor Swift after the pop star felt used by her longtime friend over being dragged into the actress' ongoing legal battle with Justin Baldoni. Taylor Swift, 35, watched her boyfriend Travis Kelce's Kansas City Chiefs take on the Eagles at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans on Sunday. Lively, 37, was not in her star-studded suite with Ice Spice, Ashley Avion, and the AIM sisters. So again, this is a photo from them at last year's Super Bowl. I got to tell you, there's nothing better to do on Super Bowl Sunday than go to the Super Bowl. If you get tickets to it, you go. So it's not like, oh, I've got better plans. Me and Ryan had hot yoga. No, you go to the Super Bowl if you get the chance. But of course, maybe it was Blake Lively who didn't want to go. So, maybe Blake didn't want to be on the Jumbotron like Taylor was. Now, Taylor Swift was on the Jumbotron and she got booed. Now, people might not like what I have to say, but I have to be honest with you. I have to stay true to my convictions. I have to give you my thoughts and understand it might piss some people off. I like Taylor Swift. Ooh, what are you going to unfollow me? I mean, imagine a world in which somebody unsubscribes from me because of my pop celebrity preferences here. I have yet to see evidence that Taylor Swift did anything wrong in the Blake Lively situation. I haven't seen it. You can send it to me. There's all these theories out there, but Taylor Swift, and again, it's going to be hard for anyone to empathize with a billionaire pop star, but Taylor Swift is under public scrutiny literally every step of the day, everywhere she goes, everything she does. So here she is at the Super Bowl, just wants to cheer on her man, and they put her on the Jumbotron, and she gets booed. But does she get booed because of Justin Baldoni fans? No, she gets booed because she's supporting the Kansas City Chiefs, and half the stadium are Eagles fans, and God bless an Eagle fan, but they are savage. They are savage birds of prey. They will throw snowballs at a Santa Claus. They're crazy people. They had to literally put Crisco up and down the poles of Philadelphia so people wouldn't climb them. And again, I mean, that's just what is Philly gonna Philly. That's okay. They got great cheesesteaks. And, I like Philadelphia people, but that's who they are. You can't take the stripes off of the Philly fan. That's who they are. So they booed Taylor Swift. That's fine. Listen, here's what you have to learn. And this is something I'm actually dealing with today. I'm dealing with this today. Maybe it's because it's a Monday, but what you have to learn if you're Taylor Swift is this. You have made so many fans that you are going to have people that don't like you or don't get what you have to do. Maybe Kendrick Lamar is dealing with that as well. You're exposed to new audiences. Whenever my channel gets promoted in the YouTube algorithm, it gets promoted to people that wouldn't normally ever know who I am. They wouldn't come to my comedy shows, support my Patreon, be a friend. They're in the same, they wouldn't even be in the same world of what I cover. I see this happen all the time. And then I have to deal with the hate of people that don't like me. And it's like, hey, Ed bought my home, my car, and it's helped me raise, be able to raise my family and have a baby and all these other things. So you deal with it. You deal with the negative that comes around with it. Taylor Swift is the most hated pop star in the world. Why? Because she's the most famous. Just like Barry Bonds led the league in strikeouts. I don't think that's true, but you get the point. The point is, if you're going to be one of the greatest that they are, you're going to deal with the fallout from that. And Blake Lively's in a different camp because she's not one of the greatest. She was just friends with one of the greatest. But Taylor Swift already has enough enemies, so I can't imagine she would want Blake Lively around her publicly right now. But my guess is if Blake Lively was any decent human, she wouldn't want to put Taylor Swift in that position, having already embarrassed herself with her Taylor Swift leverage. Taylor Swift allegedly invited Blake Lively to the Super Bowl, or did she? All right, so here's another story. Last week, I left my kids for the first time ever and wore pants that were shoes, Blake said in an Instagram post after the 2024 Super Bowl, so a year ago. I borrowed more jewelry than the skeleton in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and I went clubbing. Now I know what my episode of The Twilight Zone would look like. According to The Sun, which again has zero credibility, Taylor was sending invites to Blake and Ryan Reynolds, as well as Ice Spice, Sabrina Carpenter, Selena Gomez, and Benny Blanco. Taylor would like to have some of her close friends and family all together and be there to show love and support her man. And while the star-studded suite included Ice Spice and the Haim sisters, Blake was nowhere in sight. According to Daily Mail source, Taylor is not shading Blake, or is she trying to teach her a lesson? It isn't like that. Even if Taylor did invite Blake, Blake would not come. Blake would not want to overshadow Taylor ever. I agree with that source. Forget what you think of Blake. I think in most cases, like, you would know, like, this is not a good look for me to be out publicly right now. Other sources are saying Blake started the rumor about being invited to the Super Bowl and didn't actually have an invite. According to a blind item, Blake is the one leaking stories that she is going to be in the suite next week with the A+ list singer. Taylor and Blake have been dealing with feud rumors after Blake allegedly called Taylor one of her dragons in a text. The text in question came after Taylor reportedly joined a meeting between Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and Justin Baldoni after the It Ends With Us director had less than ideal feedback to Blake's script rewrite. An insider told Daily Mail for the time being, she's taking a step back from Blake because she doesn't want to get tangled in this more than she already has, which is far more than she ever needed to be. Her friends also think that Blake's "I'm Khaleesi and like her, I happen to have dragons" text to Justin was uncool and unnecessary because she was essentially used as an intimidation tactic. She was referred to as some kind of pet or possession. Who knows what's true? You got sources being pulled out of reporters' asses in all directions. Who knows what's true? But I do want to thank you guys here for the kind comments I did get from my video this morning. Loved your comments regarding Megyn Kelly and her unusually passive-aggressive support for Justin Baldoni. Your mother has to be proud of you. Someone said, loved your take on Megyn's segment. There's such a thing as being too far left, and she misses the mark on Justin Baldoni because he isn't that. She, on the other hand, showed how far right she's gone. Yeah, look, I explain it this way, and I'll show you right now. I explain it as the horseshoe. So that's a horseshoe, okay? It's a terrible drawing here. So the horseshoe, I need a Sharpie. I need a telestrator is what I really need. The horseshoe, of course, if you think of, like, literally, we think of the political spectrum as left versus right, but the horseshoe is this. The far left and the far right are actually very similar in that they'll come together to cancel each other. Most people exist right in here, right in there, in the center left, center right. And when you get involved with culture wars, it actually has nothing to do with politics as far as the culture wars of trying to, control what other people say, First Amendment speech and things like that. So I bring that up because in this previous video talking about Megyn Kelly, she's kind of in the far right when it comes to being like everything she sees is like woke issue. Everything she sees is culture war issue. Now, there is a far left that, God forbid, you get someone's pronouns wrong, they want to cancel you. There is a far left. Antifa would be considered the far left, right? That wants to use violence to change, situations and things like that. And anyway, the far left and the far right are pretty similar in a lot of ways. Most people are rational, like 90%. Sadly, the comment section can represent people more so on the extremes because those are the people that are encouraged to talk. So I'm just encouraging anyone out there, leave a kind comment. Gosh, we all need it today. It's a Monday, for fuck's sake. It's a Monday. I've got so many people just yelling at me from so many angles, no matter what opinion you have. To the point where, check this out. Looks like Dave Neal received the check from Snake Lively. What the hell are you talking about? I've gotten more comments than this than you could imagine. People thinking I'm on Blake Lively's payroll. Are you kidding me? No. Listen to the podcast. We make our money from advertisements, a good amount of them. Thank you so much to all of our sponsors. So how crazy are some people? Now, not everybody, just some. So like when I talked about, who's gonna get outraged at the Super Bowl? My point is we've developed this society where we manufacture outrage. You see it on Piers Morgan. You see it on Megyn Kelly. And I'm like, Megyn, you can't really be this upset about something that affects 7 people in a world of 8 billion, you know? Like, she will find, and this is confirmation bias, right? She will find something to be upset about and find something to back her. And she thinks everything to the left of her is insane people. I'm not insane. I'm not insane whatsoever. I don't think Taylor Swift's a bad person because she's an associate and a friend of Blake Lively's, and I'll stand by that. Show me any evidence whatsoever that Taylor Swift had anything negative to do with It Ends With Us. People will say, well, she was in control of casting somebody. She's denied that. What are you talking about? They'll say, well, she got a composer fired. We don't really know the details. Maybe that composer was a super big creep to Taylor and she just said, I'll be a part of a movie, but not if that person's attached to it. I won't work with that person. I have no idea, but we leap to these judgments that if you're not squarely on Justin Baldoni's side, everybody else is the bad guy. When you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Look, you can believe Justin Baldoni and still say, well, I don't know what Blake Lively's motivations were, and I'm just going to wait for this all to play out. But sadly, those people thinking the same way I do, which is, hey, we got a lot of time. Let's just wait and see how it works. We don't need to get all mad about this. Those people don't comment. Those people are normal people. The commenters, not everybody, but the commenters that think I'm on Snake Lively's payroll, those are the insane people. Where do they even begin? Do they wake up and get out of bed and just immediately choose like violence, like looking for any cracks that there might be a conspiracy? I say this, decide for yourself. Do you live in a friendly world or an unfriendly world? I could lose half my subscribers today if you guys all want to agree you live in an unfriendly world. That's not going to change the rudder and the direction of which my intention is. I think we have more people that believe we live in a friendly world, which is Justin Baldoni wasn't a hardened feminist, and if for that reason alone he was duped. No, he seems like a nice guy who knows how to control his ego and also knows how to communicate with women on a film set. Just so happens his lead actor tried to use that against him. I don't hold that on him. I hold that on her if that's what happened. And I continue to say if that's what happened because, it hasn't even gone to court yet. And I would like to live in a society where people are innocent until proven guilty for all parties. Now, I have my opinions. My opinions are generally what most people think, that she, in one way or another, gained control of the film through deceit. And I keep on asking the question, why? And it seems as though some people don't want to do that critical thinking. They just want to say, Blake bad. Okay, fine. Well, that's what TikTok's for. This is longer form content where we try to figure these things out. We had a great conversation over the weekend with Rachel Juarez. You guys made that a 100,000 view video, so people loved it. And again, this isn't, I absolutely love how many people have found this channel and how many people have been interested in the day-to-days of this case. All I just say is, remember, we live in a world of instant gratification and a world of instant access to answers and Google and this and that and AI. We don't have all the answers yet. Justin Baldoni might leak some of them throughout this next podcast. We might get some clues there. It's dropping at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Or we might wait till this thing settles or goes to court, and we might not know till March of 2026. But we'll be here to cover it all, and I'm here to just get out the fire hose and try to put out some of these fires. Look, I don't care about the people who think I'm working for Snake Lively. I don't care about that. But just all right, let's just see what goes down next. Okay, we can all be a part of this. We don't have to have all the answers. We'll figure it out. Relax, folks. It's only Monday. All right, that's going to be it for me. I'm coming to you right after this with a new podcast, The Rush Hour with Dave Neal. People get kind of confused of what I do. The Instagram's not a podcast. People your Instagram podcast was, no, listen, I do a podcast every morning and every afternoon. And in between, I have videos like this, which is not the podcast. This is just a YouTube video. So it's all right. It all goes to the same bank account. It doesn't matter. But I appreciate all the support. If you want to stick around for the Super Bowl coverage, plus some political coverage, what's going on in Gaza, all of those things that might be a little heavier conversation than what we're having here, we'll have that on the Rush Hour podcast coming up next.